Stakes, prime-time congressional hearings on the deadly January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol taking place tonight.
The House Select Committee says it will reveal never-before-seen footage of the siege with testimony from some of Donald Trump's closest allies, including his own family members. ABC's Ika Jachi is on the Capitol on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Tonight, after almost a year's worth of compiling evidence from over 1,000 closed-door interviews and 100,000 documents, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol is now ready to show its work. The committee says it has hours of never-before-seen footage of that deadly day, including live witnesses and videotaped testimony from Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, and her husband, Jared Kushner, who both had senior roles in his administration. Also being shown, new footage from documentary filmmaker Nick Quested, who was embedded with the Proud Boys before and during the violent insurrection. The committee's goal, to document the horror of that day and highlight what they claim is former President Trump's failure to do anything to stop it. Instead, the group alleges for months Trump laid the groundwork for the attack by repeatedly spreading baseless lies that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from him.
I believe that tonight will be sort of an opening of the narration, the narrative of what happened as an assault on our democracy.
Some Democrats feel the hearings will energize their voters, reminding them what's at stake ahead of the November midterm elections. Republicans, like House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, dismissing the Select Committee's work, accusing the panel of targeting Trump and other Republicans at a time when they should be focused on economic issues.
I don't see any primetime hearings set for gas price, for battling inflation.
It's important to note this is not a legal proceeding, but ABC's chief legal analyst Dan Abrams says the hearing could still have legal ramifications.
Any information that they gather that shows potential criminality could certainly be used in any future proceedings.
This is just the first of 7 hearings. The committee says they expect to finish presenting their evidence by the end of the month. On Capitol Hill, Ika Jachi, ABC News.
And let's bring in retired Colonel, senior State Department official Bill Smullen to talk more about tonight's hearings.
Bill, thanks for joining us live. Really appreciate it. How typical would you say it is to have a House committee hearing in prime time, broadcast live across TV networks?
I think it's terribly important. First of all, this was a very seminal moment in American history. It was an embarrassing moment for America. The whole world was watching. And it's important for us to take this incident and dissect it and determine how could it have happened? How did it unfold? Who was responsible in the White House? And was it the former president and his allies? And what role did they play? And lastly, what are we going to do should this attempt be made again? And I think the committee will answer all of those questions and more.
And what else should we be expecting to hear? How do you think this will go?
Well, I think the question is going to come down to whether or not this was a seditious conspiracy, whether it was intentional on the part of the former president. And it took him 187 minutes before he answered the call to stop the rioters by telling them to go home. It took the National Guard 3 hours to get there. Something is wrong with that picture. First of all, the president should have said something immediately to stop the bloodshed. Secondly, the National Guard should have been called out immediately. That's what the National Guard is there for, to keep the peace. And so a lot went wrong that day, and I think it's important for Americans to know how this could have unfolded. So this is a moment of introspection. It's a moment when the Congress can be the conscience of America, and I think we need that right now in our history.
Bill, are you expecting any bombshells, though, to be revealed tonight? We've heard about a never-before-seen video. We know Ivanka and Jared Kushner have testified. I mean, what do you think we actually hear tonight that we haven't been familiar with yet?
Well, I think this is sort of a primer tonight. We're going to get much more detail. There are going to be 7 hearings, so we're going to get an awful lot of detail. I think each hearing is going to be 2 hours in length. And so we're going to find out exactly how this could have happened. And I just want to make a point. I happen to be in Montreal right now, And I happen to be talking to a lot of Canadians, and they have a sense that we have lost our way. We have lost our moral compass as a nation. Our nation used to be looked up to by countries all over the world. Not true anymore. Not true. And that's embarrassing to me. We ought to do something about it. And I think this is an opportunity for us to get our heads around what this means for the future of America.
And I guess what will it mean? What happens after tonight? Anything?
Well, I don't think that anything is going to happen specifically after tonight, other than the fact that the Department of Justice is going to look into criminality. And if there are criminal acts that occurred, people are going to be held accountable. And that could be the former president. And the Justice Department has this responsibility. They do it on behalf of the American people. They don't answer to the White House. They answer to the American people. And so if the Justice Department sees that there was criminality, they ought to go after those people who not just incited the riot, but people who behind the scenes were responsible for allowing it to happen.
Got about 30 seconds left, Bill. You think much of America will be watching?
I would hope so. I mean, I think so. Now, the problem is our attention span is not very long, we Americans. So we may watch tonight and then not watch the next 6. I would hope, and I'm going to be there, I hope we watch all 7 hearings, because each one will reveal something different than the last.
All right, Bill Smullen, thank you so much for joining us, for your time, and of course for your expertise. We appreciate that.